Yeah, sorry, I'm just finishing my notes. So I like your understanding of and your view of um, uh, people as part of groups is laughable. I mean, you can
What?
like, for example, in the data. Can you show me some data? Yeah, it's called the census, Vorsh. It's called the census.
I have it up in
Everyone
front
fills
of
it
me.
out. Yeah,
Mhm.
and in 2011, which was the last one, and this was quite some time ago, after much mass immigration, only 45% of the city identify as white British. So
Do you believe
kind of
non-white
makes the
people
point, doesn't it?
can be British?
Bosh, I don't care what you think is racist. I don't care, Bosh.
What?
But what I'm saying is that
Wait, do you think non-white people can be British?
One
most
sec.
people, Vorsh, in the United Kingdom do not identify as British. In London, sorry, not in the United Kingdom. Sorry, do not identify as British. Therefore, your opinion on my opinion on who is and is not British is not relevant because we're just asking people how they identify. They don't think they are, and so that's the end of that conversation. But
Based on
anyway,
what? Nationality or
hang on, Vorsh,
ethnicity?
Vorsh, based on their own self-identification, and that's enough for
In
me.
nationality or ethnicity?
Vorsh,
Hold on.
Why can't you
Vorsh,
just answer?
my turn. Vorsh, it's my turn to talk, isn't it? So,
All right.
based on self-identification, um, and honestly, I don't understand how you don't understand that you keep saying that you are targeting the poorest in society, and you are justifying targeting them for exploitation by saying it's only a minor decrease and everyone else benefits. Why should the poorest in society carry that burden? I think that richer people should go without in order to not exploit the poorest in society. And I thought I was the capitalist. So you've admitted already that immigration hurts private immigrants and the lowest earning. You have no leg to stand on here. Go.
Right. Okay. So I've addressed the latter point like 6 times now. Yeah.
No,
So
you haven't.
what you're
You keep
advocating
failing to
for
address
is
it.
Carl. It's okay. You'll get a chance again. What you're advocating for is an ethno state. And I can prove that. I have the data right here. We can actually look at it on my stream. So the number of Londoners as of the 2011 census showed that 63.3% of London's population was born in England. They are English citizens. So the majority of people in England are English. You said a minority, as in less than 50%, are white British, which suggests that you aren't counting non-white English people as part of what constitutes an English identity in the country. And this is a problem we ran into the last time we talked. You're advocating for an ethno state. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're using people's ethnic identity as a descriptive to determine whether or not they are legitimately English. Now, nationality, I get, if you weren't born in England, that's totally fine to say that person's not English. I think that's valid. Maybe if they've lived there like 60 years or something, but that's getting in the weeds. You're using ethnicity. And I'm going to be honest, as a liberal, as someone who believes in the principles of liberalism, I'm very much big on that classical liberalism. I'm not a big fan of ethno states, Carl. And it's a little weird to me that you would deliberately sidestep clarifying whether you mean ethnicity or nationality because you're too cowardly to acknowledge the fact that it is in fact ethnicity that you are using as the determining factor in whether or not you consider a person English. You'll note, if you want to go over the census, which I have in front of me, I can show it to my stream too, many people in this census who recorded their ethnic identities fit into a category of either Asian or Asian British. Asian or Asian British, black or black British. The ethnicity section doesn't distinguish between national identity because that's not what it's trying to do. It's their ethnicity. And I would say, by the way, what's my ethnicity? I am Irish and Polish for the most part. And if you asked me what I am, I would say I am an American. Because even though my ethnic identity does not come from America, my personal identity, my nationality, is American, as are many of the English people you are saying are not legitimately a part of England, are not part of the English identity. I don't really have any, if you want to argue in favor of an ethnostate, you're fine. I have sources on those too. But is that really an argument you want to be on the table making?
Thanks so much.
Vorsh, these people don't identify as English.
Ethnically.
Ethnically, they don't identify as English.
I don't identify as American ethnically. but I
Yeah,
am
but
still
you are,
American.
whether you identify it as or not. You
Do you know
clearly
what an
are.
ethnicity is? This is an ethno state. You're
Yes.
saying a
One
national
second.
identity
Do
is
you
determined by
define
ethnicity.
ethnicity for me,
Just
Vorsh?
because I just want to be sure that Carl gets that roughly 2 minutes or so. And
No, I'm interested. I'd like to do a bit of back and forth. What do you
Okay.
think ethnicity is defined as, Vorsh?
Ethnicity, an ethnicity, not one's ethnic identity, is
What's an
defined
ethnic
by.
group?
I'm sorry.
What's an ethnic group?
An ethnic group are people to adhere to an ethnicity, and an ethnicity is determined by a people with a collective culture, nationality, language, heritage. There are a lot of things that could determine one's ethnicity.
Yeah, but that's not race, is it?
No, I'm not
No.
talking about race. I'm talking about ethnicity. I never said race.
Neither am I. These people who are in London, the majority of people in London view themselves as being an ethnicity that does not originate in the British Isles.
Yes. And you are making
Right.
ethnicity the determining characteristic as to whether or not they are English.
No, they don't call themselves English.
Yes,
They
ethnically.
are making that.
No, ethnically.
They
No.
are saying they ethnically do not identify as English. If they ethnically identified as English, I wouldn't care where they came from. If they came, like, this is literally what my grandfather did. Right? He came over here to become English, but they have not come here to become English. I have a problem with that. Why
Wait,
don't you?
you do know ethnicity doesn't mean the culture you subscribe to, right? Here in America, so again, I mean, I don't know how much time
Actually,
you spent.
part of it is the culture
It
and the
can
language
be,
and the history,
but it's not
Yes.
determinant. So
It
you can come here.
can
You can come
be.
here to America. Of course,
Can.
of course, it can be. And there are weebs
Can.
who are American
Can.
who are born
Vorsh,
in
do you hear
America.
yourself?
Carl, can you stop acting like a child for a moment and listen to the argument that you're going to attempt to rebuke?
God.
If you come over
God.
here to America, you'll find that there are people who are very much American, who have been here for generations, that are ethnicities all over the place. What's your ethnic identity? I'm Korean. I'm Indian. I'm Irish. I'm Russian. You get this all over the place. People don't really say American as an ethnicity because of the unique socio-political history of our country. But if you ask these people, nonetheless, if they're an American, they'll say yes. And culturally, these people are all the same. They don't. If you're ethnically Korean because your great-great-grandmother came over here in 1914, that doesn't mean when you say you're ethnically Korean that you still subscribe to the cultural values of the Korean people. It doesn't work that way. You are using ethnicity to determine whether or not a person is English as a culture or as an identity. We are speaking only of
Yes.
ethnicity.
Yes, 100%. That's how it's determined.
Okay,
You
then you are by
absolute
definition
genius.
advocating for an ethno-state. And what's unique is, I think in this case, it's not because you're racist, it's because you're too stupid to know the definition of ethnicity. You think
Let's
it
go
means
back.
what culture are you a part of? And I don't
It
know if I
can,
have the
Vorsh.
time and energy to explain to you.
Literally, you read out the words. It can be
Of course,
culture. Yes, it
anything can. Can you find me census data on the identified culture of different ethnic groups? Culture, not their
Yes,
ethnicity or their nationality.
they identify as not being English. I'm not saying it is
Ethnically,
a racial identification. For some of them, it might be racial, but that's not my criteria.
It's
But for them, you in America, like you say, it's a unique position you're in. That's why you have hyphenated Americans. They are not just Koreans; they are Korean Americans.
Asian or
ex-Americans.
Asian British,
There is-
Asian or
hang on,
Asian
hang on.
African.
I-
It's
I-
here in the census. You have the same thing. Do you know
Vorsh,
why?
shut up.
Let's give.
Can you
go back
mute
to
him so I
Starguy
can have my time to talk, please? You have a particular unique circumstance in the United States. We do not have that in Europe. That is not the same thing here.
One sec. So sorry, Carl.
On what